Alright, I wanted to make this video earlier, but I was sick and my voice was sounded like crap. And that's why I didn't, but I wanted to talk about the games that I played in 2021. Now, when I say the games that I'm going to talk about are the games that I finished. When I say finished is if they had like a main campaign, I finished that. I didn't 100% completed the game. I'm not the completionist. Sadly, I'm not the completionist. So, and I don't have the time to complete 100% every single game, but I do try to finish most of them, and I do my own version of completion, which is I do what I want. I do what I feel interested in. If I feel like it's not like worth my time, I don't. To give an example, in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, I find it to me it's a joy to go and challenge the data organization and to fight Sephiroth and all that fun stuff, to fight the Lingering Will. But I don't go out of my way to do all the achievements for Jiminy's Diary, all the mini games and all that stuff. So that stuff I don't do, but I definitely go for Ultimate Weapon and I go and fight the organization. So that's what I mean when I don't 100%, but I do try to make things that I like. All right, now, also, like I said, I'm only going to talk about games that I finished. There were other games that I played throughout the year, but I, for some reason or another, I didn't finish. I plan on finishing them this year. I'm planning on finishing those this year. List of games on that category include Hades on the Nintendo Switch, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Persona 5 Strikers. Those are games that I played, but I didn't finish. Same with Fallout 3 on the PlayStation 3, etc., etc., etc. I played other stuff, but I didn't finish, and I want to talk about only games that I finished. Okay, so the first couple that I have here are Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 13-2. I love these games. My first time playing Final Fantasy 13 was, I want to say, 9 years ago on an Xbox 360 that I used to have. Actually, I have it. I have it there. It's just unusable. Okay, I played it on the 360, and I thought at the time, this is a great game that suffers from being called Final Fantasy. And I'm still going to maintain that. If Final Fantasy 13 didn't have the Final Fantasy label, I believe it would have been way more accepted back then. Nowadays, with that being said, there's been a resurgence in people who are now, the stigma's over, years have passed, and people are playing the game, giving it a chance, and they're finding out that this is a great game. Final Fantasy 13 is a great game. Actually, if I have to be honest, I only have two major complaints about this game. Two major aggravations that make me hate it. Number one, why do I get a game over if my party leader dies? I hate that. Especially when you see that the other two are completely fine. Hate that. The second thing that I hate is, why am I allowed to have only one active side quest at a time? Who thought that was a good idea? I really want to know who thought that was a good idea. Because screw you. That's annoying. That's padding. It makes the game longer than it should be. Because it is unnecessary padding. And I hate it. Other than that, gameplay is great. The story is interesting. It's not the best story, but it's there. I do hate I feel that there's a lot of dependence on the data log. I feel. This time around, I feel like I had a much better grasp on the story. But very good, very good. Then there's Final Fantasy 13 too. And here's the thing. My 2 complaints from 13 were addressed in 13 too. So that makes it automatically a much better game, my opinion. Story is really interesting. The gameplay is fun. I like the mechanic of the monsters. It's my first time playing 13.2, by the way. It was my first time playing for 13.2. I thought it was great. I still have to play Lightning Returns. I still have to get a copy of the game. Because I could buy it digitally. But it's a Final Fantasy. I would like to have a physical copy. We'll see. Where I live, it's difficult to get one. Okay. But yeah, I thought this game was great. I thought the story was very interesting. But the best aspect of Final Fantasy 13 too was, or is, in my opinion, again, Caius' Ballad. Caius was a fantastic villain. Caius is such a compelling character. His motivations are sound. His characterization is great. He's a badass. He's cool. He's great. He's great. Everything about Caius, I love. Caius is incredible. And he has become one of my favorite gaming villains. Not just Final Fantasy villain. He is one of my favorite gaming villains. So, that's the first one. The other game that I played last year was Super Mario 3D World. I only played the 3D World part. I haven't gotten around to play Bowser's Fury. It was my first time playing this game. I never had a Nintendo Wii U, which I think is where this game came out originally. Or I don't remember. But great game. Great game. Oh no, is this a 3DS game? Whatever. Great game. Great game. I really have nothing else to say about it. It was just great. It was inventive. It was very fun. It was very intuitive. There was not a single moment in any stage in which I didn't know what I had to do, because it was very, very good. Same goes for Super Mario Odyssey. If this is great, this is awesome. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is even better. What a fantastic game. And what I liked is that Nintendo, and when it comes to Mario, they have this tendency to take a simple concept and go with it and play with it and do amazing things with it. And that's with Cappy, right? With the hat and the fact that you get the powers of the enemies you control and everything. It was great. This game was a lot of fun. I didn't get all the moons, but I tried to get as many as I could in every single level. I tried to do as much side stuff as I could as I went along. Very, very good game. The last section, when you take control of Bowser, awesome game. Then I played Metroid Dread. Honestly, what else do I have to say about this game? I uploaded a 15-second video to my channel saying that this game is fucking awesome. This game is fucking awesome. I'm going to repeat exactly what I said on that video. This game is fucking awesome. This game is fucking fantastic. And if you have the chance to play it, go play it. You're not going to regret it. This is definitely my 2021 game. This is just great. Everything about it was great. The animations were awesome. The gameplay was awesome. Fluid, responsive. This was an action game. This played like an action game. It's just great. I didn't have the best time. I finished it twice. The first one was obviously my first playthrough. The second one was one in which I wanted to do sequence break and get the gravity suit earlier. I did that. I feel accomplished about that. I finished most of the speed boost puzzle, which I thought were fantastic. No, this game, you know what? I'm just going to keep moving. This game is amazing. This game is amazing. On the Nintendo Switch, I also played Mega Man 01. I have the collection, but I only finished the first one. I thought it was good. I thought it did some inventive couple of aspects to the formula. For example, the fact that you have like a main hub from which you access the other areas. I thought that was fun. It was frustrating in some cases. It requires you to be grinding with the freaking cyber elves. I didn't complete any of those, in case you're wondering. I just went with the ones that were available to me, and I used them at sub tanks for the final copy X fight, and that's it. I didn't get any types of health upgrades or anything. I did level up my saver, and that's it. But it's fun. It's fun. I'm looking forward to playing the other three, and also the ZX series. Since I was talking about Final Fantasy, I also played for the first time Final Fantasy X-2, not 10. I played for the first time Final Fantasy X-2. Is it better than the first one? No, not really. Well, at least not in my opinion. But it's really fun. It's a really fun game, and I liked. The story could have been handled better in some areas, but something that I really liked about it was, and this is coming from Yuna's character, there was always a sense of resignation. There was always this tone of moving on with your life, of accepting what things are right now, what you cannot change, and go with it. I really like that. In every single internal monologue that Yuna had, every single time you got to an area or that you finished the storyline of a specific area, it gave me that sense, and I really like that. I really like that. I don't know. That aspect of the story, I liked it. I really liked it. By the way, I got 97% story completion on this game. Yes, I used the guide. Obviously, I used the guide. There's no way anyone could have figured that out. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm too stupid, and I would never have been able to figure the requirements for certain percentages on my own. Never in 1,000 years. So I used the guide, 97% on my first playthrough. I see that as an absolute win. Moving on. Since we're talking about Final Fantasy, on my Switch, I played Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy IX. If you ask me what my favorite Final Fantasy is, I would have to say it's a tie between 7, 8, 9, and 10. I cannot pick one from those four. To me, those four games are all equally impressive. They all have fun gameplay. They all have an amazing story. For one reason or another, they all exceed and fail at certain departments. For example, Final Fantasy VII's gameplay is great, but then you are forced to use the limit break whenever they're charged. You don't have that agency. Final Fantasy IX is great, but the trance can go to hell because it's completely useless. It goes off whenever you don't need it. So, but yeah, going back on track, I love all those games equally, and replaying 8 and 9, it just reaffirmed that notion. Because in 2020, I replayed after playing the Final Fantasy VII remake, I replayed the original Final Fantasy VII. And yeah, Final Fantasy VII is great, but so is 8, so is 9, and so is 10, in my opinion. I cannot pick and choose. I cannot simply pick one and say, this is my favorite Final Fantasy. I can't. If you ask me about 13, well, yeah, that's not my favorite. It's on the lower side, but at least I could give you an answer. But from 7 to 10, to me, they are all equally good. Depends on the day you ask me. So, Final Fantasy VIII, I enjoyed it a lot. My time this time around with the game, it was fantastic. I went ahead and I did something that I had never done before, which was get the Lionheart on disc 1. Well, obviously I'm not playing on discs, but get the Lionheart on disc 1. I did it. It was way less annoying than I thought it would be, especially because you have to play the card game. It was not annoying at all. Turns out, if you give it a chance, it's kind of fun. It's actually kind of fun, and I did it. I didn't notice that my playthrough took, I want to say 50 hours. 10 of those hours were the initial grinding that I did to get everything set up for Squall's Lionheart and a couple of other materials. But I didn't feel those 10 hours. I didn't. It was a breeze. I don't know. It was fun. The story of 8 is always going to be a favorite of mine. I feel very identified with Squall Leonhardt in terms of personality. So yeah, I love that. I had a blast playing 8, but especially I had a blast playing Final Fantasy 9 again. Now I have played, including this time around, I have played Final Fantasy 9 like 5 or 6 times, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt that this time around was the most fun that I ever had with Final Fantasy 9, with an RPG in general. I don't know what it was, but it was so fun. It was just fun. It was amazing playing through Final Fantasy 9 again. Especially on the Switch. I had never played the Switch version. I had only emulated the PlayStation 1 version. And yes, I said emulated. But I loved playing it on the Switch. It was so fun. And I don't know. Again, I have played this game before, and I still got chills on some scenes. For example, when you get to the Black Mage Village for the first time, and number 248, I think it is, I don't remember, the Chief Black Mage, when he explains to Vivi what's going on, when he tells them, we are going to expire eventually, and Vivi's reaction, I got chills. Great game. Just great game. The other game that I played on my Switch was Limbo. Not my first time playing the game. I think it was my second time. The first time that I played it, I think it was on the PlayStation 4, when it was for free for a PlayStation Plus month. If I'm not mistaken, but yeah, it's a fun game. There's nothing I could add to that. The puzzles are nice. They're not too complicated. They're not too easy. It's just the right amount of difficulty. It's a game that you go in, you finish, that's it. Great game. If you have never played Limbo, you should play it. It's very good. Let's continue. On the PlayStation 3, I also played for the first time Heavy Rain. Is it the best game I've ever played? No. But hey, this was like what? In dollars, this was like... If I paid $5 for this, I'm exaggerating. It was really, really, really cheap. Fun. It was fun. It was okay. Will I ever play it again? Not really. But it was fun. The other trifecta of games that I played last year was Echo and Shadow of the Colossus. Oh man. Honestly, I think there are plenty of analysis videos out there and video essays that do a much better job than what I'm doing and what I would do if I started talking about them. Just play them. These are classics for a reason. These are quintessential gaming experiences for a reason. The only thing that I'm going to say is that something that these games do, some games from this era do, that games nowadays just don't do. In me, it's a personal thing. These games make me wonder. These games trigger my imagination, and it gets it going. I need to know what happened. When I go to a corridor in a castle, for example, and I need to know what happened here. It gets my imagination going. It's fantastic. When you're playing Shadow of the Colossus, when you're in that vast deserted land, when you're going through the forests, when you're going through the ruins, and going through the desert, and you see those the ruins of what could have been there. Amazing. There's, like I said, these are quintessential gaming experiences for a reason. which leads me to The Last Guardian. Same thing. It made my imagination go wild. That huge fortress, it was fantastic to experience that. This game it's an experience. This is definitely a once in a lifetime experience. Because yes, will I replay this game ever? Yes, I would totally replay it. But I can say that I will not have the same impact. It will not have the same impact. Fantastic game. Fantastic game. Now I'm showing my PS3 copy of Nier, but actually what I played was the replicant version. I also played Nier Automata. The reason I'm not showing my copies is because I forgot that I was going to make this video and I lent my copies to my cousin. I'm an idiot. Okay. Nier is one of my top 5 favorite franchises in gaming. The storytelling is fantastic. But also the integration, the ludonarrative resonance that exists in the Nier games, especially in Automata, is fantastic. As a side note, I don't know. I believe that Nier Automata is the most important game of the last 15 years. Nier Automata, Yoko Taro took the medium of the video game and made it his own. He took every single aspect of the video game as a medium and used it for storytelling. Fantastic. Incredible, breathtaking. Even the fucking menu has a purpose. Even the fucking menu where you do your options is story related because it's the Android interface, let's say. Fantastic. Nier and Nier Automata are fantastic stories. They are incredible games. They hit you in the feels in some cases. Oh my god, especially Nier. When you see what's actually going on, it sucks that there's a lot of supplemental material that connects the two games. And yes, I know they're related to Drakengard. I know. I'm aware. So it sucks that we have that situation going on with these games, but really good. Really good. I loved the replicant version. I loved the gameplay of that one. It was much more smoother. I loved the addition of the mermaid episode and the E ending. I loved the E ending. It was very good. And the connection with Automata, very nice. Very nice. I can't wait to see what they do next with this franchise. I know the reincarnation exists for mobile. I played it, but I don't like it. Finally, on the PlayStation 3 last year, appropriately, I played Dark Souls 1. It was the 10-year anniversary. Of course, I had to play Dark Souls 1. The Soulsborne games, including Sekiro, are on my top 5 as well, for a reason. Dark Souls and Miyazaki, they changed gaming in the last 10 years. There's a reason why we now have a new genre, the Souls-like games. It's fantastic. It's great because last year I finally convinced one of my friends to start playing this game. I had been trying to convince him. I had been trying to convince him for the last 10 years. Finally, he listened to me. Last November, finally he listened to me, and he's loving the game. And I just love. Last night, or 2 nights ago, he was fighting Artorias. He came over to my house and he was fighting. He got to the Artorias fight, and I just sat there and I watched as he was discovering the fight. And it's amazing because I was just as tense as he was. And when he finally defeated Artorias, we were both ecstatic. This is just a fantastic, a great game. Dark Souls is amazing. Dark Souls is just. Let's continue. On the PlayStation 4, I also played Tales of Arise. I really like this game, especially the combat. The combat never got old. Those finishers, they never got boring. They always got me hyped. They had such an impact. This game is fun. This game is freaking fun. I still have to do some of the post-game content. I don't know if I'll get around to it, but I know that there's a lot to be discovered. I tried to do as much side quests as I could. The Tales of games, the graphics are great. The graphics are great. The Tales of games, the skits, the skits are always amazing. First of all, they're optional, but they flesh out the story, the world, the characters so much. It's great. The Tales of games, and this one in particular, this one was really, really, really good. The story in here was great. The characters were great. I still think Tales of Berseria has a better story. Not a better gameplay, but a better story overall. But this was very good. Gameplay-wise though, this is the best Tales of game I've played. I haven't played all of them. I have played Abyss, I have played Xillia 1, I have played Berseria. And yeah, that's it. And I have played Arise. But This is definitely This is definitely the most fun and the better in terms of the best in terms of gameplay. Totally recommended. This is not my game of the year for 2021. Well, mostly because Metroid Dread was that damn good. But if I hadn't played Metroid Dread, then this would have definitely been game of the year. Very good. And then I played or replayed Last of Us. I replayed The Last of Us 1. I have that one digitally on my PlayStation 4, and I replayed this one. My final assessment, my final verdict, now that I played them with, I don't know if I want to say analysis mode or what, but now that I played them without hype, without anything, just to enjoy them, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, Last of Us 1 is a better story, but Last of Us 2 is a better game. As a video game, I much more prefer to play this one. It has more options, it has more, there's so much stuff that you can do with the combat, there's so many possibilities that you have. The addition of crawling, of completely laying on the ground and crawling your way through the minimaps, it opens so many options. This is a fun game. The story is definitely better on the first game, but I do have to say, I like what they do in this one. First of all, I understand why they killed Joe. I don't mind that they killed Joe. I'm actually in favor. Joe was a terrible person. Never forget that Joe was a terrible person. Joe was not a hero. Joe had to die. And it was pretty evident since the first game. He made it pretty clear in some cases that he did whatever was necessary to survive. And that meant that he crossed a lot of people. So no, Joe had to die. My complaint with this game, with the first one, with the second one, is I just cannot empathize with Abby. I just can't. I know that the game gives me a whole Abby campaign so that I subvert my notions, my preconceived notions. But I just can't. And I'll tell you why. Because of the way she killed Joe. Not because she killed Joe. Let me make that very clear. I don't hate her. No. I don't hate her. I don't dislike her. Or I fail to connect with her. Not because she killed Joe. But because the way in which she killed him. The manner in which she murdered, in which she completely massacred Joe, made it impossible for me to connect with her. That's my complaint about that. But she's very good. She's a good character. I like that from the beginning. From the moment you take control of her, you notice her fear of heights. Her fear of heights, it's apparent. And yeah, the other thing that I want to mention about these games, and this applies for both part 1 and part 2. You know what my favorite part of these games is? Exploring. I'm not a fan of the combat, to be honest, but I'm a fan of those quiet moments when you're just walking through a desolated building, or through a desolated neighborhood, or through the woods. When you're just walking, looking for your supplies, I love those moments. Here's the thing, I have always had this fascination with nature overthrowing human-made cities. So this game just clicks with me. Visually and aesthetically, this game just clicks with me so well. And I love those moments. I actually hate whenever I get into combat, because that means that I don't get to explore, that I don't get to immerse myself. But other than that, good games. Good games. I'm glad that I replayed them. Will I replay them again? Yeah, at some point. Not planning to do that soon, but at some point I will. The last 2 games that I played last year were, well, first of all, Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5 is the best action game I've ever played. Devil May Cry 5 is perfect in every sense of the word. The animations are sound, the controls are responsive, the combat is amazing, the combos are great. The fact, I'm not a great DMC player, by the way. I'm not able to pull off the crazy combos that you can find online. But I've always said, the fact that those videos exist, and the fact that those are not cinematics, the fact that those are player input results, is incredible. It's breathtaking. It's great. I know my way around the game. I finished the Dante Must Die with Virgil, and I finished the main campaign. So it took me a while. It took me a long while, but I did it. But yeah, I can replay that game so many times. Like last year, what I did was replay it. I just took it for fun, and I finished the main campaign with Virgil, and it's just amazing. Playing with Virgil is just great. To be honest, I only have 2 complaints about Devil May Cry 5, and they're nitpicks. The first one is that, okay, I understand that in the main campaign I have to play as Nero, V, and Dante in some sections. But I understand having to do that your first time. Even your first time through any of the difficulties. So your first time playing it through Human, if that was or Devil Hunter, yeah, you have to do the 3. The first time playing through Song of Sparta, yeah, you have to do the 3. But when you're replaying, why didn't you give me the option to choose? Why didn't you give me the option to choose? I would have loved to play the whole game as Dante. Well, the other thing I have to say about Devil May Cry 5, by the way, I have that game digitally on my PlayStation 4. The other thing I have to say about Devil May Cry 5 is that in relation to V, I like that his sections are, first of all, they're not a lot, just a few, and they're far in between each other. And yeah, I like that they do not overstay their welcome. Because I enjoy them because I know that they're short and that they're going to end. I'm not sure I would like to play a whole campaign as V. It's out there. I like it. I like the character. I like the gameplay. But I like the gameplay in moderation. The other game that I played last year, which I forgot to get out, was... oh, whatever. Is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Honestly, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a good game, but I thought it was boring. I thought the combat was just basic boring, uninventive. At no point throughout the game I felt that the combat was compelling or anything. No. It wasn't a very good game in terms of combat. Here it is. Finally, I found it. The world was nice. The world was really interesting. The world was very beautiful. The raiding, that was fun in its own way. I didn't complete everything. This is the first time that I didn't complete everything because this game got boring. At some point, I just got bored of it. Okay, let's finish this. The story, though. I thought that the story was nice. I thought that the story was really interesting. I liked how it gave us that this was an origin story for the much more modern iteration of the Templars. Rather, this was the origin story of the Templars as we know them. The Father of Understanding. This was the end of the Order of the Ancients and the seeds that would eventually become the Order of the Templars in Assassin's Creed 1. That was great. I thought that the story was great. It's a shame that Ubisoft has officially killed Assassin's Creed with their Infinity bullshit. It's a shame. It's a shame because Assassin's Creed it's not on my top 5, but I really like this franchise. I've played all the mainline games and they've all been fantastic in their own way. So it's a shame that they have killed them. Nice game. Not the best, but nice game. Okay, I forgot to say the other thing that I hate about Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5 has officially ruined Devil May Cry 4 and Devil May Cry 3 for me. Yeah, because I'm not sure I could go back and play without Devil Sword Dante. I love Devil Sword Dante, but that's nothing. I mean, I'm exaggerating, obviously, but it's kind of true. Other games that I played throughout the year but I didn't finish. Well, like I mentioned, Hades, very good game, really fun game. Shin Megami Tensei 5, still going through it. It's my first Shin Megami Tensei game, so very interesting. Persona Strikers. I interestingly enough, I liked Persona Striker less than I thought I would. I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong. It's a really good game, but I get bored of it really quickly. That's why I haven't finished it, because I played for an hour and then I spent like 2 months without playing it. Oh well. It does have great quality of life improvements that I wish were present in Persona 5 Royal. It has less padding. Other games that I played Mega Man Zero 2, still need to finish that. I played Fallout 3. I played I think I forgot what else I played. I played Warcraft 3 with my friends. I played a lot of stuff. I played Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I've been playing through it. I started in December when I got the game, and I've been playing through it. Fantastic. Well, maybe not a fantastic game, but I'm having fun with it. I never played the 4th generation when it came out on the DS, so this is my first time playing that iteration of the game. So I'm having fun with it. I know it's controversial. I know it's spawned a lot of controversy because it's not very optimized and because it feels like a lazy port. But for a person like me who didn't play the originals, I think it's great. I think it's fun. I think it's Pokemon is not. I'm not like the greatest Pokemon player. I'm not the greatest player of anything, to be honest. I just play games. I love them and I play as much as I can. But I'm not the greatest gamer in anything. I'll never be the best X player, so whatever. But I always have fun with Pokemon. It's a simple game. You can pick it up, you play. That's it. It's a simple game, and it's fun. It's fun. And that's it. I think those are the games. Yeah, that's it. That's my list. Those are the games that I played last year. Maybe they're not a lot of games, but to be honest, with my work and with life, I'm actually really surprised that I had time to play many of these games. Considering that some of them are RPGs. I mean, I have 5 Final Fantasy games there, and I did a lot of stuff in those. And I have Niers, and I have, it's a nice selection. I was surprised when I noticed, hey, because I was expecting, when I was doing my list, I was like, hey, you play like 10 games. And I realized, hey, no, you played like 21 games. You finished 21 games, plus the others that you did not finish. So this is my list. Thank you for watching. I don't think anyone was watching, but if you watch and if you're here, thank you for watching and listening, and that's it.